In terms of the pure quality of the games themselves, 2020 is shaping up to be a banner year for the gaming industry. We've already had some pretty huge hitters already, with the upcoming months seeing the final swan songs for the current generation, before a whole bunch of next-gen exclusives sweep in to show us what we should expect from the next decade of gaming. With everything to juggle at once though, it's no surprise that plenty of games have slipped through the cracks. These might have been critical darlings that failed to find an audience deserving of their quality, or fan favourites that didn't receive the acclaim they deserved, but they're all worthy of your attention. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 most underrated video games of 2020 so far. Number 10, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Dragon Ball FighterZ or Fighters was both the best and worst thing to happen to this fighting franchise in a while. While there has never been a shortage of DBZ games, Fighters set a new bar for them going forward in terms of presentation, gameplay and mechanics that going back to the regular output feels a little bit lesser. That could explain then why Dragon Ball Z Kakarot didn't enjoy the same impact and longevity despite being another stellar experience. Opting for a semi-open world retelling of the original anime, Kakarot puts the emphasis on RPG systems as much as spectacular bouts, letting players freely roam in a lengthy campaign. There are some issues, and there's a general lack of polish that plagued a lot of these releases, seen most obviously in the repeated landscapes and the annoying as hell voice lines, but this is yet another must-play for Dragon Ball Z fans. Number 9, Dreams. Dreams is one of the highest rated games of the year so far. The PlayStation 4 exclusive was actually announced back when the console itself was first unveiled in 2013, and has taken so long because the devs wanted to make sure they fulfilled on the dream, of giving players the tools to create anything they could imagine in the game space. So, why is it on this list? Well, to put it simply, nobody bought it. The creation sim debuted at number 8 in the UK charts the week it launched, despite being one of the only new releases that week, and slipped out of the top 10 the week after. It dropped out of the top 40 a little while later. That sucks as well, because Dreams is one of the most robust and original games to come out this generation. The levels and full-on games players have made within the experimental title have been a joy to see shared, and there's a real community at the heart of it that deserves more love. Number 8, 2 Point Hospital. Though it released on PC in 2018, 2 Point Hospital finally arrived on console earlier this year. A spiritual successor to cult favourite Theme Hospital, the sim tasks the player with managing a hospital ward and curing patients as effectively as possible. You have to build the whole thing and make sure everyone from staff to patients have what they need to make their stay as comfortable as possible. As you can imagine though, it's not exactly the kind of game many people jumped at the chance of playing in 2020. But 2 Point Hospital doesn't revel in body horror or anything like that, and the ailments of your patients are often intensely humorous, which is aided by the overall cartoon aesthetic. It's one of the more niche titles on this list, I'll give it that, but it received killer reviews and is worth the plunge if you like your Sims as charming as they are frustrating. Number 7, Gears Tactics. Gears of War has been long overdue a tactical spin-off, but fortunately Gears Tactics, very inventive, is worth the wait. Instead of opting for an RTS like other Microsoft staple Halo Wars, this game instead sets its sights on dethroning XCOM as the king of the turn-based tactics genre. While it's not quite there yet, it is a stellar first foot forward for the new would-be franchise. Likewise, despite the obvious similarities, Gears Tactics is a much faster-paced and action-orientated game, for better or worse. With a squad of 4 COG, each with their own unique abilities and weapons, each battle revels in the kind of violence Gears is known for, represented here through a great close-up action camera every time you execute a move. There's still tactical depth to be found here though, and smart planning is rewarded with satisfying squad wipes. Tactics is at its best when it incentivizes risk-taking, always tempting you to be a bit more aggressive by showering you with action points and new gear for playing in this style. Despite the shift in genre, this is distinctly Gears and needs to be checked out. Number 6, Telling Lies. The follow-up to Her Story was always going to come loaded with huge expectations, but fortunately Telling Lies more than lives up to them. Another desktop thriller, the game has you sifting through video footage and attempting to piece together the central mystery by matching up stories, keywords, and character motivations. Speaking of characters, Telling Lies has an excellent cast led by Logan Marshall Green, each giving layered, convincing performances that make it tricky to figure out who's being truthful and who's telling you a big fib. And yeah, it originally released on PC last year, but it's the console ports that take priority in this list today. Likewise, if you've already played it, it's still worth going through again to check out what you missed and see how the other endings play out. Number 5, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. 2020 is shaping up to be a great year for VR, but while everyone expected Half-Life Alyx to be a game changer, I don't think anyone banked on a Walking Dead licensed tie-in being a must-play title. However, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is an essential purchase for any VR owner. A first-person survival experience, the game gives you the post-apocalyptic dream, or I guess nightmare, you always wanted to play, having you going out each day to scavenge, fend off against the undead, and hit your main objectives before heading back to home base. The twist is, as nighttime falls, the hordes come out to play, and speed and efficiency is essential in getting in and out of locations before the sun sets. Rather than just another zombie-killing tech demo, Saints and Sinners offers a robust single-player experience where exploration is just as good as the action. The melee combat itself is weighty and impactful, and the fear that comes with stabbing a walker in the head with a screwdriver only to have to try and pry it out of its skull as another monster closes in is nothing short of intense. Number 4, SnowRunner. Okay, so when you were playing Death Stranding, did you ever stop to think, this would be amazing if it wasn't full of Hideo Kojima's zaniness, Monster Energy product placement, and also if you were a truck instead of Norman Reedus? Well, if you did, then SnowRunner is for you. The off-road driving sim is unforgiving, requiring a lot of patience and planning to haul a batch of cargo from one end of the map to another. Between trying to not get stuck in a muddy field or precariously edging a semi up a mountain without tipping, that's not a euphemism by the way, SnowRunner doesn't offer the kind of conventional thrills you'd expect from a driving game, but it would be wrong to call it anything other than an immensely rewarding experience. Seriously, if you want to know more, just message Scott Tilford, he will not shut up about this game. Number 3, Hunt Showdown. Hunt Showdown was a game that went over pretty much everyone's heads at launch, despite it being in early access for a year and then launching for a limited time free to play on PS4 and Xbox One. The unique multiplayer shooter is the kind of thing that passes the mainstream by, but the people who love and play it can't shut up about how much they love and play it. And in a way though, you can't actually blame them. Coming from Crytek, the title offers one of the most compelling multiplayer suites in quite some time. The general idea is that 10 players are tasked with finding and killing a bounty, which is a powerful mythical monster, and can either go for it alone or in duos. However, when a player collects the bounty, everyone else in the match will be alerted to their location, beginning a deathmatch where the victorious hunter now has a bounty on their head. Smart, eh? There's also a short Battle Royale style mode, but this mix of PvP and PvE acts as the core of the game, which, with the strong, impactful combat mechanics and sickly beautiful art style, makes Hunt Showdown something genuinely special. Number 2, Nioh II. PlayStation has enjoyed perhaps its greatest year of the generation when it comes to major new exclusives. But while everyone raves over Final Fantasy VII Remake, argues over The Last of Us Part 2, and looks forward to Ghost of Tsushima, Nioh 2 always gets forgotten about. Which absolutely sucks, because the original was one of the best action games early on in the generation, and this sequel has built upon those strengths even more. Featuring bigger environments and badder bosses, Nioh's brand of difficult melee combat returns in all its glory, with more varied design to boot. It's very much more of the same as far as sequels go, which could explain why it didn't really draw in any new fans, but Nioh 2 is a great jumping on point for the entire series, and shouldn't be overlooked alongside some of the PS4's other big hitters. Number 1, Pathological II. Alright, Pathological II technically received a release last year, but it makes it on this list not only because it recently received a PS4 port, but quite simply because it's one of the most fascinating games of the entire generation. A remake slash reboot slash retooling of the first Pathologic, this follow-up puts you in the shoes of the Haruspex, who returns to his hometown to find the plague slowly taking over the community. The survival RPG is split up into specific days, forcing you to complete a set of timed objectives that are easily missed, and tackle moral quandaries that have no obvious right answer. To say that it's punishing would be an understatement. Pathological II does not want you to have a good time. It wants to grind you down and make you feel terrible, which is probably why it hasn't caught on. The other reason it hasn't exactly soared to success is that it hits a bit too close to home right now. Despite its period setting and surreal plot and characters, to stop the destruction of the town, you have to navigate a bunch of impossible decisions and convince people to help out, even if it's not in their financial or political interest to do so. There is more to it than that, including a dense meta-narrative too juicy to spoil here, but it's one you need to play rather than just hear someone talk about. One thing is for sure though, you won't play anything else like it this year. So that's our list. Once you guys think down in the comments below. Have you given any of these games a chance yourself? And are there any that I missed off here that you think deserve a spot on this list? Either way, while you're down there, could you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to WhatCulture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't though, I've been Josh, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.